What's going on, everyone? How's everyone doing today? Thank you for joining the Business Project Podcast. We are so excited for this week. We are actually on week 6. That's great.
Cinco.
Oh my God.
Is that 6?
Cinco is 5.
Oh, seis.
Seis.
Yes.
We are week 6. So thank you for joining us today. Thank you if you've been following along. I'm so excited for this week. We're actually talking about creating your marketing plan.
The marketing plan. This is very, very important. Like all of the other weeks, this one is important.
Yeah, so let's get in it.
Let's do it.
I love it.
The Business Project Podcast.
Business can be complicated.
We break it down so regular people like us
Can understand and find success. I'm John Crespo, accountant and consultant.
I'm Casey Bryant, marketer and event planner,
If you run a business,
or want to run a business.
welcome to the show.
All right, marketing plan.
Ooh.
Yeah.
This is going to be juicy.
I think that, like a lot of the other steps, this one is a little bit intimidating for businesses, and I think a lot of them probably don't do it.
Well, there's a lot involved. That's why.
And there's a lot of options.
A whole lot.
Yes, and it takes money. And
Yes.
this is one thing in your business, I feel like, that you can just easily just throw money away.
Yes.
Just go out the window.
It's like throwing it in the furnace,
Exactly.
burning it up in the winter.
Mm-hmm. We don't want to
wanna
do that, though.
We don't wanna do that.
Just like we talked about the Titanic, the sinking ship.
Yeah.
We're not going to sink. In a couple episodes, we mentioned that. We're not
gonna
going to
be
do
the
that.
band that keeps playing while the ship is going down.
No. So this gives you an opportunity to build on the other episodes. I'm going to read what we did with the other episodes, because if you guys have not watched those yet, we would highly recommend that you go back and watch the other episodes, because we are just building one on top, building the foundation brick by brick. And in order to get into your marketing plan, you need to know things like your target market and your mission and vision and all of those. So in episode 1, we talked about naming your business, researching your industry, and creating a company description. In episode 2, we talked about creating your mission, vision, objectives, and strategies. Episode 3 was our market analysis, picking products and services, and pricing. Episode 4 was creating goals. We gave you like 500 different words for SMART.
That was a good one.
Yes, that was a really good one. And then episode 5, we talked about defining your message and your color scheme. And those are just bricks, right? One brick is mission, one brick is vision, one brick is goals. And we're just building a very, very solid foundation. And so once you get all of those figured out, then we can start working on your marketing plan.
You've been following along and actually taking notes and saying, okay, this is what I can utilize for my business. Whether you're starting your business or you've been in business, it's always good to reevaluate where you are and fill in the pieces that's missing, and that's what we're doing here. So this is a journey. We started at the starting line. We're going through this journey. We're hitting different milestones, and this milestone of marketing plan, like, we're culminating everything together right here to create this marketing plan that's going to be where you start executing.
The execution is a hard part. And you have to have a plan in order to execute. We don't want to just go in blindly and just guess, hey, let's throw hundreds of dollars here, throw hundreds of dollars there. We want to be able to track it. We want to be able to have a good, solid plan. And so by now, you should know who your customer is. You should know your target market. You should know how you want people to feel when they come to your business, or when they see you online, or when they call your business, right? We talked about all of that. And so all of that just rolls into your marketing plan. So what is a marketing plan?
The marketing plan is the actual roadmap that takes all of that information and puts it into place. So it's the roadmap that you create on how you're going to execute everything that you've built up until this time.
Exactly.
To put it in
that was a good
layman's
description.
terms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there's all types of marketing now. And I feel like it just keeps growing. There's 5 bazillion social media platforms. There's billboards. There's radio. There's, what else is there? There's magazines. There's newspaper. Do those still exist, newspapers?
Believe it or not, they do.
Yeah, there's
Believe it or
newspapers.
not.
Oops. And so there's all kinds of places that you can spend your money and get the word out there. There's networking events, there's business cards, there's your website. And once you start a business, you're going to have a bazillion people knocking on your door wanting your advertising money, wanting your marketing time.
Very true.
Yeah.
And so, believe it or not, most small businesses do not create a marketing plan. So you go blindly to ask for help from someone without really understanding what you're providing or the market that you're going after, or really you're going to search help without having that knowledge beforehand. It's very important to take the time out in your business creation process to create this roadmap before speaking to someone, because then you'll have a better conversation and you'll have a better experience, because the person that or the company that you're going to for help, because you're going to need to get help on this, right? But the company you're going to for help will have a better understanding of how they can help you the most.
Just like serving your customer base. If you don't know what your plan is, if you don't know what your customer wants or where they're shopping or your target market, then how are you going to explain that to others? And so that's where this comes into, is you figuring out what do you want for your business and how can we get that into the hands of other people, into the minds of other people.
Love it.
And there's 3 different things that you can be working towards marketing. And so if you're a new business, most likely you're going to be marketing a new product or service. It'll be absolutely brand new, starting from scratch. It might be something that is recognizable, that, you're reselling, or, clothes that boutique people know, jewelry and shirts and things like that, but it's whatever you're selling specifically from your store. So it might not be something that you're creating, but it's new brand, new products, new service. And so you're just basically starting from scratch. And we mentioned before in previous podcasts that for every product or service that you have, there's a cost to marketing that specific thing. So if you are a boutique, we'll keep with that theme, and you have clothes, but then you also have hats, but then you also have jewelry, but then you add purses. Each one of those items has a cost to marketing. And you need to come up with a plan for each one of those items. So a lot of stores, as a grocery store, for example, you come in, did you know that they strategically put the milk in the very back of the store? Because most people go there for eggs and milk, and they want you to walk all the way through the store to get the milk.
Walmart's good for that too.
And so that's strategically done. They're not just like shooting in the dark and saying, hey, the freezers need to go along the wall, so let's put the milk in the back. That's not what they're thinking. And they also know what they're doing at checkout when they put gum and candy there. That's a very strategic way to get those products in your hands, those impulse buys. And so you need to think of that in your business as you're thinking through your products and services. How can you, number one, market each one individually, and how can you optimize on that one person's attention to take them through the process of seeing as many products or services as they can?
I love that, and I love that this is like in your wheelhouse as well. Between last week and this week, this is your thing, and I love the examples that you just mentioned. I think about myself when I'm going into these stores, these big box stores, or another store, really, that has put the thought into their marketing plan and the execution, their strategy, whatever you want to call it. And I'm envisioning myself walking through these stores, and I see, okay, look, in the middle they typically have their sale items in the middle of the aisle, because that's where people are walking. They want people to see it. That's the product they want to move the most, so they put it where people can see it. But then you're right on the strategically placing different items in different areas of the store to kind of force you to walk around and hopefully buy more. So that is the purpose of really taking the time to figure out, how am I going to get the best bang for my buck, and how am I going to move the most product? And that's where this planning comes in. So it's very important to take the time out to think about it. It's just, listening to what you were saying is just like, wow, it was an epiphany. This is so true. That's how it works. And If we don't take the time to put the strategy into place, then then we end up double working ourselves, end up losing heart because we haven't implemented the right strategy.
And that can be a strategy. You can create a strategy not just for a grocery store, products in a store, but you can also do that through your website, through your checkout. Hey, they bought this one thing. I purchase things all the time online, and I purchase one thing and then they send me a coupon directly after that and say, hey, spend more money and you get a discount. Or in the checkout, it says, hey, do you want to add this to your cart for this much off? Save on shipping or whatever. Those are all ways for them to push more product to an existing customer. And even if you're like a cleaner, a carpet cleaner, and you go in and you also do upholstery, you can upsell them. Hey, if you get your carpet clean, we also give you 50% off your upholstery cleaning, right? That's just a great way to push that as well. And so the first thing that we had talked about was a new business, marketing to new customers, completely new. The second thing that we've already touched on a little bit is reaching selling more products with the same customers. So keeping the same customers and selling more products through a funnel. That's a very common term used for that, is you start off with a cheap thing to get them in the door and then you upsell them on things.
Yeah, the funnel, right? Looks like this.
Yeah.
Everybody who's watching us, because we're on YouTube as well, funnels like this, right? And you want to get your client base to go down that funnel. So you want to get as many people into the funnel as you can, so that you at the bottom get as many sales as you can. So that's the funnel. I wanted to do a visual.
Yeah, that was good. We should have brought one and had it out here.
That's called upselling.
Right.
So that's a strategy called upselling, and it should be in your marketing plan. How are you going to upsell to your current client base? So as a business, you may have multiple services or multiple products that you offer, and you want your clients to take advantage of everything. Just to give you an example of my business, I do payroll, bookkeeping, taxes, and lending. So when I'm dealing with my clients, my bookkeeping clients, I would love to help them with their payroll as well. I would love to help them with their taxes as well. I don't have to, but I would love to, because it would increase the sales of my business, in essence, generate more revenue. So that's an example of selling more products to your current client base, right?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Hopefully you can visualize it that way. And when you're creating your plan, you can say, all right, what services or products are we offering, and how can we get our clients to buy more of them?
Exactly. That's great. And it can happen for almost every business that I can think of.
For sure.
Unless you are just selling one product or one service and that is it. And I got to say too, I think that's okay at the beginning if you're a new business to just start with one thing and do it really well. But if you're not, then once you get a good solid foundation for that, if you're not creating complementary products or services, you're definitely missing out on opportunity.
Love that word, complementary.
Complementary.
Yes,
that means complement each other, not free.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Because that is complimentary breakfast. That means free breakfast, right? At a hotel. Yeah. That's not what we're talking about.
Right.
Yes.
We want to increase your sales.
Exactly. Products that complement each other.
Yes.
So another thing that you might be creating a marketing plan as a business is if you have an existing product or services and you improve it or you add value to it. And let's think of an example for that. So we created this beautiful water bottle. I'm looking at my water bottle. Yes. Yeah. So we create this beautiful water bottle and we spend all this time in like research and development. We get it launched and we get it out there, and then we get the feedback from our customers and they're like, hey, we love this water bottle, but I wish that it had a handle. And so then you go back, you do recreation of the water bottle, and you're launching a new product. Another example that I can think of is a restaurant. You're serving tacos, and you have these tacos, and they're really great. And then somebody's like, hey, I wish I had a grande taco. And you're like, okay, so you go back and you make a grande taco, and it's a very similar product, but you're relaunching it, reintroducing it to your customers. So that's another type of...
Great examples, and I liked when you were talking about them, you were talking about your clients or your customers will ask you sometimes, can you provide something additional with what you currently have? I'm a firm believer in your business will tell you what it needs. Business is alive. It's its own entity. So it's going to tell you what it needs. And it typically will tell you through your clients or through some type of administrative need. But your business is going to tell you what you need. And your marketing plan is a living document, because as you're in business for a certain amount of time and you're moving products or services, your clients and your business are going to start talking to you, and they're going to start requesting things, and they're going to start. So can you create those complementary iterations of your product or service to continue attracting new and same clients?
That's such a great point. I'm glad that you mentioned that, because I think a lot of people, when they start business, they think these are what I'm offering. This is the need that I see right now. And they get so tunnel visioned on those specific items or services that they don't listen to their customers and they don't see the opportunity. I mean, your customers will tell you. That's how we came up with the business project.
Right.
I run a different company called Local, and we connect the community with the local businesses. And through this company, I consistently had businesses come ask me questions. How do I do this? How do I do that? How do I do this? I see them open and close because they're not informed on all of the basic things that we go over in this podcast and on the business project. And so we created Business Project because we were listening to our customers.
Which is such a need. Oh, I'm so happy that the Business Project is here. And because all of this that we're talking about, you can find it on thebusinessproject.com. And it just can help you build that roadmap and help your business be successful. So this is amazing. This is awesome stuff. This is great conversation as well. And I hope that as you're listening or watching, whichever avenue, because we're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple. So whatever medium you're using to follow this podcast, I hope you're taking notes, because every episode is giving you the goods. It's giving you the goods to help your business to think long term, to be successful, to grow, and all that. And that's what we need today.
It is.
Yeah.
We're going to get into more really great stuff in just a minute.
Yes. We'll be back.
We'll get back to the show in just a minute. First, we'd like to tell you about thebusinessproject.com. This is a one-stop shop to help you grow your business. We're just getting started, and as one of our very first subscribers, you can join now for just $19 a month, which will give you unlimited access to a growing library of videos on topics like branding, marketing, social media, and much more. See you there.
And we are back. I hope you didn't miss us. We missed you. I hope while we were on this little break, you were checking out some of our previous podcasts or just signing up to hear more, subscribing and sharing.
The Business Project has so much for you guys. There's a video that is 5 things you can do to get more customers for $0. That is a great free video.
Yes.
It has a 28 steps to launch your business free video.
Yes.
And when you go there and you watch any of these videos, the free ones, or you get the subscription, or you go through an entire course, then you get put in the community, which is really cool. The community. It's new, so we're just getting started.
Right, we're growing that, but that's where you can bounce off other business owners. We're in there also participating in the conversation, and you believe it or not, your situation may not be unique to you. There's other businesses going through the same thing, same struggles, same concerns that you are, and this community allows us to talk about it, to find resolutions for each other, and just to help keep each other accountable and growing.
As you're going through these podcasts too, and you have questions or you want feedback, if you don't have anybody in your life that you can say, hey, what do you think about this part of my marketing plan? Or do you feel like this is a good target market? As you're coming up with the strategy and going through all of these steps, you can use that community to be a soundboard.
Yes, definitely. It's an amazing tool to put in your tool belt as the superhero of your business.
Mm-hmm.
Bat person, Batman, Batwoman, all that stuff. So thank you, and let's get back into this.
Let's do it.
Because this is some really good stuff. So coming back from break, we had a couple more stuff that we wanted to touch on when it comes to the marketing plan. And so right now we're into the pricing and quality. Mm-hmm. So how are you going to price your product, and where do you stand on the quality of the product or service that you're going to offer? We touched a little bit on our pricing podcast when we were talking about value-based pricing and how important it is to ensure you're providing value for the product or service that you're offering. But now it's like, okay, what is the right amount, right? What is the right amount that I'm going to charge for this product or service? That research was done previously in building towards this marketing plan, but this is where you write it down and you implement it and you actually execute it here and see how it works.
Yeah, a lot of what we're working on right now in these previous podcasts is building your entire business plan. Your business plan and your marketing plan is part of your business plan. And so you guys should be taking notes. You should have a notebook or something up on your computer as you're listening to the podcast, or take voice notes, however you want to do it, because I know a lot of people do it in their car. Don't take notes while you're in the car.
No, pay attention to the road, please.
Yeah, figure out some way to be taking notes for the things that we're going over. Don't just listen to it and move on with your life. That we really want to work with you guys on making sure that you're implementing the things that we're talking about. Otherwise, what's the point? Right.
Yeah, for sure. Because you save our podcast. You can always go back to an episode if you need to refresh something. But this is the information that's really going to be helpful, especially when you're implementing. And I just wanted to touch on another thing on the pricing and the quality is the service. I think pricing, quality, and service have to go hand in hand, right? Especially when we're following the value-based pricing model, because number one, people go back to you when they feel they've had amazing service. Your product doesn't have to be the best. Let's say you're not the shiniest stone in the riverbed, right? But when people come and talk to you, they have the best experience. They've been treated the best, and that overcomes that. So pricing, quality, and service. Think about you standing apart from the pack by providing the best service you can for the clients or customers that come in.
Yeah, that is such a great point. And I think that goes back to the conversation and how do you want your customers to feel when they think about your business. There's a coffee shop locally that I go to, and I'm not a huge fan of their coffee, quite honestly. Yeah. I don't think that it's great. But I think that I just love going there. I always see people that I know, and they're always so happy, and it just makes my day great. And so I drink the coffee because I love the place, and I love to support them, and I want to see them do well.
And even if the coffee isn't the greatest, they probably sell something else that you like, and you can sit down and enjoy because the service that they provide you.
Exactly.
So that you still go back there and you still patronize, or you're patron, you're still a patron of the place.
Yeah.
Where you're buying something, because of that service, and that's just it's at the heart of being a successful business. Service, I can't reiterate that more.
Service is very important.
Yes.
So there's a couple of other things that we need to mention before we get off here when you are creating your marketing plan, and these are just some things to consider. One of them is your current market position. Where are you currently in the market? Are you the only one that's doing what you're doing? Are there a million other of them, and how can you stand out? How do you, and we did researched already. We've researched all of our competitors, and so you should already know this. You should have this done. If you didn't, make sure you go back and listen to that podcast so that you can learn more about how to research. But where do you stand with pricing? Where do you stand with customer service? Where do you stand with quality of your product? And that all needs to go into your business plan.
For sure. Yep.
Your marketing plan. Yes. Yeah. And your business plan.
Yeah, because your marketing plan lives in there, right? So it definitely. And where will you operate? So, where in your community do you want to operate, or are you going to be in online? Are you going to be online? You're going to be physical location? That stuff that you did the research on what you're going to do. This is where you put that information in and start implementing that. So, just remember, this is where the execution part of your research goes into this plan, because this is the roadmap to your success.
Another thing that you need to consider as you're building this out is how you're going to promote your product. And we had mentioned briefly that there's a bazillion different ways to promote. You can do traditional ways like TV ads or billboards or magazines, or you can do digital marketing. Even digital marketing itself has a million different options. You can do, Google ads, you can do Facebook ads, you can do Instagram. You can boost posts, or you can create ads. The possibility is endless. And so in this marketing plan, you need to have a budget and figure out exactly how much you are putting aside to spend on your marketing. And let me stop right there and say, you know what I'm going to say, right? Yes, you need a budget for marketing. If
yes, you
do not have a marketing budget, you are going to have a very hard time being successful.
A lot of businesses struggle with the idea of spending money on marketing. For some reason, there's a thought process out there where it's an expense against the business. It's not an expense. It's an expense on your books when we're talking about that side, but it's an investment in the business, because marketing, right, equates to brand awareness. It equates to getting your business out there, which should equate to closing some more sales and bringing in revenue. So every business, large or small, should have money set aside to market your business, because it's an essential part of growing.
Look at some larger businesses in your area and think, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, they spend millions of dollars on marketing their products, and everybody knows what a Coke is. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows what a Pepsi is, and they do it. And so do you think that these very successful large businesses would be spending those large budgets on marketing if it wasn't working for them or a necessity for their business?
So true. And, obviously look at the size of your business, look how much revenue you're bringing in to figure out a starting point. But that's something that should be done. You should have money set aside for marketing. I'm sorry, you just should. You got it if you wanna grow.
When you're thinking about this also, and as you're figuring out exactly what your budget is and where you want to spend those dollars, I highly recommend figuring out how to track that. And you can put that in your marketing plan too. Is how are you going to track the money that you're spending to make sure that you're getting a return? And you can get creative with this. Like if you're doing a magazine ad, for example, pay, $20 a month to get another phone number and put that specific phone number in that magazine ad. And when people call that phone number, you know that they're coming from that ad. So there's creative ways that you can track it, even if it's something like a billboard or, a print ad.
I love that. Tracking is important, because then you'll know what's working and what's not, and where to make the adjustments.
We have a local dentist that we work with that every time I talk with him, he knows exactly where every single customer came from. That is something that they ask every single customer when they come in the door, is how they found him, and he tracks it in his CRM system, like where he keeps track of all of his customers.
I love it.
And he can tell you this quarter, this specific marketing tactic brought in exactly this much revenue, because he knows from the customers that have said that.
I love that. And you can tell, you know what's good about that? That dentist, right? Mm-hmm. That dentist now knows, okay, which one is being successful, which one's not, and then he can adjust his marketing dollars to the one that's being successful, and just, keep feeding that, because that's where the money's coming from. So I love that. Tracking it. You got to track it so you know what your return is. Very good. Good stuff.
Yeah. Another thing you need to consider, we got a couple more and then we'll close out. This is just good. We got lots of marketing plan is just so important.
Some gems.
How you will staff it.
Oh,
That's another question. So if you have a successful marketing campaign, which is the goal, right? It's the plan, and it might take a little while to figure out exactly what strategy is the best for your company and which one is going to be bringing in the most money. But if your marketing plan works and you get a bunch of customers, how are you going to staff it? Because another problem that I've seen is a business will launch and they will have a great product or service, and they will get bombarded with people, and then they lose those people because they don't take good care of them because they're overwhelmed. They didn't
Right.
plan on that growth.
right. There you go. You got to plan on the growth, staff accordingly. Even in this market, we know it's tough hiring, but that's got to be like a consistent focus, is making sure you're staffed properly, because it affects service, and customer service was up there in one of the previous bullet points we spoke about, how important it is to make sure you're providing the best service for your clients.
When you get them in the door, you want to make sure that you're taking care of them. Otherwise, you're never going to get them back.
That is true.
Yes,
Don't
that's
find
the
somebody
best
else.
kind of marketing, is taking good care of your customers so that
Yeah.
you get referrals and reoccurring business.
Yeah, love it.
I think that's it.
I
That's
think
all I
that's
got.
it.
Yeah.
Wow. Listen, this was amazing. I have to say, as we're going through these weeks and we're discussing, just the life cycle of a business, it's opened my eyes to my own business, and knowing that there's areas I can go back to and refine. And I thought I've spent a lot of time doing that, but I realized that we can grow complacent.
Mm-hmm.
And listening to these episodes allow us to really say, hey, you know what? Maybe I got to revisit something. Maybe I could change this. Maybe I could change that, and incorporate this and incorporate that. Because as the market that we're coming into, it's pretty volatile. So this allows us to be prepared for those types of situations.
Yeah, that was a great point. The market changes so quickly, and I think that we can get complacent and just rolling with what we have, and we're like, oh, we already did that. We already created our branding, or we already figured out our target market, or we already created a product. And so it's really easy to just kind of fall into, we as humans like that. We like comfortable. We like to be comfortable. We like to just get into a rhythm and be steady. And you really can't do that with business. You have to always be looking back and analyzing, because if you're not doing it, then your competitors are going to do it.
Exactly.
And they're going to fill in the gaps of where you're missing out.
Exactly. So if you like what you've been hearing or listening to so far, make sure you make sure you share with your network, make sure you save and subscribe. Right? Thebusinessproject.com is where you can go get tools and resources to help grow your business consistently. There's courses up there all the time, and new courses coming on as we speak. So, take advantage of the resources that you have. You're going to have links to it in our show notes. So thank you for joining us today and following our journey, and we look forward to next week.
Yeah, last week I said that I would get on my knees and beg you guys to share this also, because there are so many businesses out there. I mean, we see so many just in our little community that are opening and closing and opening and closing. And that is such a tragic thing, because I feel like it's preventable if they just had the resources that they need for things like this. And so we just ask you, please, if you know another business owner, to just share the podcast with them and say, hey, this is a free resource that I found helpful, and I recommend that you listen to it. That would be amazing. The more people that we can reach, the more people that we can help. That's why we did this in the first place.
That's right. Well, thank you again, and we look forward to seeing you next week at the Business Project Podcast. Thank you very much.
Peace out.